Hi, this is Frank with a frank opinion. This has been certainly an unbelievable week. It started with, at least for me, the movement to force the vote on Medicare for All, ignited by a comedian, social commentator, activist by the name of Jimmy Dore, whose program is on YouTube. And I had indicated in previous videos that I thought he was absolutely correct. That the progressives that we worked so hard to get elected should use their newfound power, historic power, to force Nancy Pelosi's hand, an avowed enemy of Medicare for All for decades, and tell her that unless she brought Medicare for All, H.R. 1384, to the floor of the House for a full vote, that they would withhold their personal vote for her as Speaker and prevent her from having yet another term. We had expected those progressives, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ro Khanna, Cori Bush, and others to have the courage that they campaigned on, that they said that they were all about, and to recognize the importance of this vote. Not necessarily that Medicare for All would pass in the House with a vote of it coming to the floor, but it was a signal to all the progressives, all the Americans that decided that they were going to vote for people that showed courage, that were different, that they could count on to vote on their behalf. Movement on enacting a universal health care system from birth to death for our citizens. And they failed. They failed miserably. And there's been a lot of talk about that, but let me give you my perspective. My perspective is that AOC, the squad, other members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus didn't realize that at least on Sunday, January 3rd, if they elected Nancy Pelosi again as Speaker, that you would have all branches of our government hostile to Medicare for All. You would have Speaker Nancy Pelosi hostile. You would have the President, Joe Biden, who is on the record as saying that if a Medicare for All bill came across his desk, he would veto it. You had at that time the Senate controlled by the Republican Party, anathema to Medicare for All. They've been trying to get rid of health care of any sort for Americans for years. So, in addition to Congress and the President, you also had a Supreme Court, which has been hostile to Medicare for All. All three branches of government. The only one that was left that might be on the side of Medicare for All potentially would be the House of Representatives. And there, the progressives, not thinking long term, not thinking really about the people that elected them, they kind of forgot about those for the moment. They decided to cave and vote Nancy Pelosi in as Speaker, with absolutely nothing to show for it. Not even a statement by Nancy Pelosi that might read like this: I have thought about Medicare for All, I've studied it, members of the House have talked to me about it, and I want to work with President Biden and other members of the House of Representatives in order to enact legislation that would implement a universal health care program second to none in the world's best universal health care program for our citizens. They have suffered enough. They deserve better. Some type of statement. Nothing. They got nothing. Now we have a situation after January 3rd that even with the Senate turning over, with Georgia going for Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, Both of them are on the record as being, in a sense, against Medicare for all, because both have said, and is on their websites, that they want to build on the ACA, build on the Affordable Care Act. It has been shown in study after study after study that after having a public option, building on the ACA will never produce a Medicare for all universal health care program for our citizenry. Why? Simply put, too expensive, complicated. In order to have subsidies for the ACA, subsidies that essentially guarantee the profits of health insurance companies, guarantee that we're not going to regulate pharmaceuticals and providers, especially hospitals, the way we should, in order to get the savings. In my next video after this one, after kind of having a conversation with you, I'm going to once again try to show you how easy it is to do Medicare for all. But our congresspeople, our elected officials, 98% of them don't deserve your vote. They don't read. They don't read the studies. They don't read the CBO reports that have consistently, including the one that came out 4 weeks ago, said that single-payer Medicare for all can save, in this case, the newest one, $650 billion. We need that in order to have a Medicare for all system. So, I'm here to tell you that for the third time in my life, I am going to register as an independent. Forget about the Democratic Party. I do not think that progressives, as demonstrated by last Sunday's vote, can reform the Democratic Party from within. They are too wedded to Wall Street, to the status quo, to ideas from the past. They're not about bold initiatives that are commonplace in European countries. So I'm renouncing my Democratic registration. I actually urge as many people as are watching me talk to consider that as well. We need a multi-party system. Republicans, forget about it. Republican Party, it's got to go the way of the wayside. Irreparable. Democratic Party, there may be some progressives and maybe some future progressives that get elected through the Democratic Party, but essentially I hope that they join or form a splinter to develop another party that is about the quality of life of our citizenry, looking out for us. Reflecting on yesterday, very briefly, I'm going to go to 2016. In 2016, in my opinion, and I did a video on this, the reason why Trump got elected is that Americans, regardless of political persuasion, had figured out intuitively that both parties were not working on their behalf. Since 1979, the same graph, corporate profits at an all-time high, corporate cash on hand at an all-time high, corporate CEO salaries at an all-time high, and wages flat. Americans were getting no benefits from increased productivity, working like dogs in 2 and 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. Their quality of life eroded, believing rightly that their children would not be able to enjoy what they had enjoyed as baby boomers and later generations. It was the fuck it vote. I'm not going to vote for a Democrat. I'm not going to vote for a Republican. I'm going to vote for this guy. Unfortunately, the most worthless human being that they could choose, but I'm going to vote for him because I can't. I can't do Hillary. I can't do a Republican candidate. I've got to go elsewhere. They were abandoned. They knew it. They felt it. They may not have the statistics. They may not have all the facts at their command, but they knew that something was wrong. They went to Donald Trump. Yesterday, a day of infamy and shame, and I feel it to my bones. Not all the people that stormed the Capitol yesterday were the same as the ones that voted for Trump in 2016, nor the same overall. Can't paint everybody with the same brush of the 70 million plus that voted for him this time around. You still have citizens that intuitively know that our government, that our two-party system has not worked for them. That's why so many voted for him. That's why I was essentially pretty close. That's why the continued outrage, and I'm not excusing it. But it's understandable when you have 40 years of nothing for Americans and almost everything for the wealthy elite, billionaires, corporate part of our nation. Americans figured that out. I'm ending my involvement in a two-party system. I'm going independent. You got to show me something. You got to come after my vote. You have to convince me. You got to look me in the eye so that I can see that you're genuine, you're authentic, and you're going to work on my behalf. Or else, you don't get my vote. Thanks.